Hey, welcome back everybody. We are getting ready to do our final winter preps here in the yard. It is October 25th. Currently 59 degrees out here, but it's cool. Little windy, overcast. We've been getting some drizzly rain here, but certainly it's that time of year. We're in late fall, getting ready to hit winter time, and I need to get the syrup off of all these hives because, quite honestly, pretty soon, and we've already gotten into some freezing temperatures or frost, at least low 30s, mid 30s maybe, I think, not low 30s. Excuse me. And starts getting that cold, bees will stop taking the sugar syrup. So you need to switch over to a solid form of feed. And as I was showing you all in my last video, I prefer these Hive Alive patties for several reasons. I just think, well, number one, it's convenient. It's easy. Have you ever tried to make fondant by yourself? I haven't, but I've seen people, and no thank you. I'll pass. So I guess as long as, you've got the extra cash and you can spend on some fondant throughout the winter, Hive Alive is really good stuff. It's really healthy for the bees. Ever since I've started using it, it looks like my numbers, again, I don't have any scientific evidence of this. I'm sure Hive Alive does if you want to go to their website, but just anecdotally, it appears that the colonies do much better on this stuff than without. And again, I just don't want to, I don't want to make these myself. I just don't want to spend the time doing it. What was I going to say? There was something I was going to talk about with the feeding, but now I forget. So, but yeah, every colony gets one of these. So we've got to get the syrup off. We got to get these on, get the added insulation and the Vivaldi boards, the foam board, get the screen and the shim over this in case any bees find their way out. And then put our foam, Reflectix and foam. And we need to put the wraps on the colonies. So Man Lake, I am, full disclosure, I am a brand ambassador for Man Lake. As such, they asked if I would be interested in receiving 10 of the Bee Cozy hive wraps. And of course I said yes, because I've actually been wanting to try these. I've never wrapped a hive over winter. So I'm sure not only am I probably going to make a mistake, so you all can critique me and tell me what I did wrong. And that's fine. I can take lots of criticism and I appreciate feedback. Yeah, I'm going to try to wrap these around, and we'll give these colonies some insulation this winter. At least half of them, or close to half of them, because I don't have 22 of these. So I don't know. We're going to have to pick some winners and losers. My thought process, if I don't end up buying some of these on my own, my thought process on this was to insulate the ones that are more out here in the open under the power lines, just because the wind draft through here, I would think, would be a little colder and more intense than the colonies that are tucked up against the woods there. So that's just my logical thinking. Man, what was I going to tell you guys about these Hive Alive patties? Well, I do like that as they start to feed through here and eat through the fondant, you can at a glance tell if they're using the food that's up here as opposed to food in the colony, or if they're getting low and it's like late February, early March, and you got to check to see if they have enough food so that they don't starve. And that most dangerous starvation time is February for bees, at least in my area. So I feel like that's a caveat you always have to say for my area, for my geography, because and the reason you do have to say that is because it's true. Bees are phenomenal, and they adapt and survive in many, many different climates. And as such, their needs are different. What the beekeeper is going to do is different. So, yeah, anyway, going off on a tangent there. This stuff comes in like 2.2 pounds. These are the 5-pound patties. I want to say they're like $10 each, give or take, for the 5-pounders. Or maybe that's for the 2.2 pounders. Maybe these are closer towards like $15. But yeah, it's Irish seaweed in it, which is really healthy, lemongrass oil, different vitamins that the bees need. And I just think it's good stuff. So we're going to go ahead and attempt to convert the syrup over to this fondant. And like I said, when it gets cold, bees will stop taking the sugar syrup, and you have to switch over to something solid. And I just remember what I was going to tell you guys. I knew if I yammered on long enough, I would remember. For the newer beekeepers, okay, seasoned beekeepers already know this. You do not want to feed pollen through the wintertime if your bees are clustered and overwintering and they can't get out to take their cleansing flights. And that's the reason why, is because pollen patties end up having those indigestibles inside that the bees need to, quite frankly, poop out. And when bees are clustered inside a colony for months on end, unable to use the bathroom because if they break cluster, they'll die and they'll freeze to death, it can cause nosema issues, which if you're not sure what nosema is, go ahead and ask your friend Google there to tell you all about nosema. But for the most part, throughout the winter time, bees really just need carbohydrates. They don't need the protein. The protein is really for brood rearing. And during these cold winter months, the queen all but shuts down. So there's just not a lot of brood to rear. You really don't need that protein. So if you see something, I had a friend, Christy, ask recently about what is a winter patty. And she was thinking it was a pollen patty. And no, if it's a winter patty, it's going to have very little crude protein inside the patty for that exact reason, because the bees can't get out and take their cleansing flights. Fancy word for their poop flights. But most of your overwintering type patties or fondant is going to be the vast majority carbohydrates, because the bees can consume that for energy. The bees need the energy all through the wintertime to be able to vibrate those large wing muscles to generate that heat that keeps the brood and quite frankly, the nest inside the colony to around 95 degrees all winter long, regardless of what the outside temperatures are. So that's what I wanted to remind everybody. Do not put substitute pollen patties in your colonies this time of year, a big old chunky patty, or you're going to get a small hive beetle infestation. And quite frankly, you're making it a little more difficult on your bees that aren't going to be able to go out and take their cleansing flights. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started. So first thing we need to do is, and attempt to do this without putting my jacket on. We're going to see how testy the bees are. But it's chilly out here, so I don't suspect, I mean, there's bees flying, don't get me wrong. It's, just under 60 degrees. And see, this is what I was talking about. Let me bring you in here. It's like the bees lobbed me up that softball so that I could. Hey, Josh, we'll show exactly what you were just talking about. So there's still syrup in here, okay, and it's about half full. So the bees have stopped taking this syrup. It's cold outside, and can't see them down in there yet. But well, maybe you can down in there. But they're walking around. I'm going to pull this off and set it aside over here, and I'll leave it outside just to see any foraging bees that are still out there. If they want to crack at this syrup, I'll put some twigs and sticks in it so bees don't drown. But there's one crawling up now. They're done taking it. It's cold. Even though it's a heavy, thick syrup, it's harder for the bees to convert that and dry it out in enough time with these temps lower so that they can store that throughout the wintertime and it won't ferment or go bad. Because obviously there is still a fair amount of water in there. So we're just going to take this off, and we're going to put the fondant on there, and then we're going to put the insulation, and I'll take you through all of it. Then we're going to put a hive wrap on here, and I bought some of these stainless steel, Chinesium. Stainless steel, I'm using rabbit air quotes here, stainless steel clips. Hopefully it says they won't rust outside. Aren't they cute? How adorable. They got little hearts on them. I just now noticed that. Oh, isn't that sweet? So anyway, we're gonna try to clip these wraps up, and I don't know. I forgot my duct tape, so I don't know if I'll be using duct tape. I'd have to pause the video and go back in and get it, but I'm hoping these clips will suffice. We'll just have to wait and see. And then I bought some golf tees because I do like I do like these little 1/4-inch plugs that I bought for the brood box, because I used to treat with oxalic acid through the back of the brood box before I bought these slatted racks. But obviously now with these slatted racks, I think rather than fuss with those... Siri's talking to me on my watch. Sorry, hang on. Rather than fuss with taking my gloves off and on and trying to pick these little 1/4-inch plugs out, obviously the golf tee works a lot better. And so just bought a bunch of these premium bamboo golf tees, and we'll just stick that in there. The bees will propolize around the inside, and then what's nice is when I pull this out, I don't need that nail anymore, because I know that the oxalic acid nozzle is gonna go in there just fine and not go in up against a bunch of propolis or stuff like that. So I'll be going around the yard today, and anywhere that you see a stick, which was my my interim solution, I'm just gonna put these little golf tees and leave the plugs in any brood chamber. Not every brood chamber has a hole in it, but the vast majority of mine do, because that's how I used to treat. I love treating this way much better. It's not buttoned up against any frames, and that oxalic acid vaporization just goes everywhere. It works really well. Okay. So, shall we continue here? Sure. All right. What comes first? Someone found some sugar here. All right, go on. Go on. Go on. All right, so we need to take this off. If a bunch of bees come out here and fly at me, then we're going to put our jacket on. Oh, wait a minute. See, I'm already getting ahead of myself. You need to go ahead and have your patty ready. And I'm going to go ahead and cut a hole in the top of that. That way, when I pull this off and set it aside, I can have the patty right there ready to go. Just use your box cutter or an X-Acto knife. And you just kind of cut a circle, and I'll show you when I'm done. It's not an exact science, doesn't have to be perfect. Just enough for the bees to get in there and access this fondant. And this just sits directly over the inner cover. Don't waste this stuff, it ain't cheap. Scrape off your fondant off the top there. This stuff, so one of you may ask, Josh, why can't you just take all the fondant out of the package and stick it under the shim? That way you're not messing with plastic and all that stuff. The reason is the fondant will dry out. So if you just stuck that block of fondant right in here without leaving it in the plastic, it'll dry out in a heartbeat in the winter. And the bees, it's not, I honestly don't know the answer if they'll stop taking it. I doubt it, because it's sugar. It would be hardened sugar, but it's probably harder on their flabellum, which comes out of their proboscis. Look at me, right? You can tell someone's been taking master beekeeping courses. But God, what a dork. Anyway, that their tongue, it takes a lot more work for them to get that hard candy versus the nice soft fondant. So that's kind of the main reason. But yeah, so go ahead and cut you a little somewhat oval circle, just so that it's gonna go over the top of that inner cover hole. Be nice, bees. Be nice, bees. Don't be mean. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, they're chilly in there. You can tell they're kind of cold. And then just place this right over the top there, just like such. And I kind of like smash it down. And my buddy Dave, and I think he learned this from Tracy, who's over in Shelby County, the county next to us. He was using those. You ever see those white circle plastic circles with the 3 legs, kind of a tripod looking table that they put inside pizza boxes to prevent the lid from smashing into your pizza? Dave and Tracy use those inside of here. I've not had the problem with this upper edge collapsing to the point that the bees can't get in here and lick every morsel of fondant. So I personally just haven't found a need to use those yet. Isn't that, I mean, come on. Again, does that not give you the fizz? The way that just beautifully went right over the top of that patty. I mean, come on. I know I'm a dork, but come on. That just gives me the fizz. All right. So after that, we've got our piece of Reflectix here. We're going to stick that on them. Actually, I have one that's, no, that's it. I was thinking I had one that was slightly bigger, but you just kind of get these all fit and work together. Then you take your, is this 3/4? I think this might be 1 inch. I think this is 1 inch foam board. And so if 2 inch foam board is an R10, this should be an R5. R5, R10, of course, keeping in mind that I have a big hole cut out in the middle. Reflectix is maybe an R, 1 or 2. It's got to be pretty small. But in general, these bees are going to get, you know, up to an R15 in some areas. And so plenty enough, I think, on top of a colony. Keep them warm. See how this lays pretty much flush. These Vivaldi boards, it's almost like they made it for this, although I don't think they did. Put this on top. Okay. Actually, before I put this on, let's tinker with this. Let's tinker with these wraps. So here's the part where I need your help. I could use your advice. What is the best way to keep these taut? Is that the right word? The way insulation works is, you know, feel free to skip forward if you already know this, but especially with like this fiberglass insulation, it's not meant to be depressed. If you depress it and squish it, you lose your R value. So whatever thickness that is designed to, whether it's 1 inch thick, 4 inch thick, 6 inch thick, R whatever, 13, R19, keep going, it needs to be able to expand to its full capability, meaning don't squish it. So you would not want to wrap this and then press this fiberglass that it's filled with. So this just looks like, almost looks like a trash bag plastic that looks like it has about 1 inch, 1.5 inch, maybe 2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5 inch, I'd say, fiberglass insulation in here. So you want it up against the sides, but you don't want it like pressed up against the sides. I actually don't think that's going to be a problem. I think the problem would be too much air gap that I can see, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So they tell you to put this at the front. Can somebody tell me why? That I don't understand why you'd want to do that. I don't understand why it needs to be in the front. Quite frankly, I think it would be easier to rotate and tighten and tape from behind the colony than it would right at the entrance where the bees are not going to be too fond of you. I just realized something. I do need my Gorilla Tape because I am not going to allow them to have this upper entrance throughout the wintertime. So we are going to pause the video and we'll be right back. And we're back. Okay, got the Gorilla Tape. So let's go ahead and cover up that upper entrance. I plan on just taping it. I don't think it's really necessary to like shove some insulation in there, super plug it up, right? So this is just all I intend to do. Just so bees can't get in and out of there, really. They got to go down there. That's it. Okay, so here's my thought, guys. And you can all watch me fail live on YouTube. So, I'm going to ignore the advice and I'm going to put this towards the back. Somebody please text me in the comments why that's a terrible, horrible idea. I would love to hear the logic behind that. I plan on using one of these clips at the front. Because I noticed when I was testing these in the barn, it was sliding all the way down, of course, and covering their main entrance, which I do not want to do. So my thought was pinning a portion of this up and under itself with said clip, with the idea being they'll be able to get in and out. This is my probably terrible idea. So you all let me know in the comments why it's a terrible idea. You guys kind of getting the picture there? What that would look like if I just keep it pinned up? What do y'all think? Are we thinking that's a good idea, or this is a terrible idea, Josh? Let's find out. Trying to slide this over. Rotate it here so that that pin is over the top of their entrance. Looks pretty good to me. Let's continue to lower it. Lower, lower, lower. Lower, lower. And as I said in my previous video on how to successfully overwinter singles, excuse me, don't worry about ensuring the wrap is covering this Vivaldi board, because the Vivaldi board is a giant block of insulation. You don't need to cover that. You want to make sure all of the white from the brood box is covered. So it's okay to pull this down below the Vivaldi board to make sure that you maximize your insulation coverage over the brood area. And wow, I literally just thought of this. This has the potential of really confusing the remaining forager bees, because now every colony is going to be the same color and look the same. Does anyone paint pictures or circles, different colored circles, shapes at the front? Look, this bee's confused. At the front, on the front of their wraps. I'm just curious because, yeah, I think they'll figure it out, but I don't know. What's wrong with that? That looks pretty good to me. And I think if I just went all the way down, it would cover over that entrance, and I just don't want to do that. I don't know. Maybe I'm being anal. But look, this bee's already confused. Like, oh no, my colony's not black. It's white. And it's trying to figure out where to go. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to think about that a little bit more. But look on that. Let me bring you in here. If it's well, I don't think I need to pull it tight or anything else. I've got a little visitor here. So that is what you want to see. You don't want a huge air gap in there, but you want it just to where it's touching up against that side, but maintains the integrity of this thickness, right? That's what you want. This, you guys tell me, is that a big deal? I don't know. Is that, I mean, clearly there's no insulation right here. I can see that. So kind of odd that they would not bring it all the way here. So now they're like, there's this small gap in the back, but I mean, hey, I went zero, or I went, you know, a handful of winters without using any wrap. So I guess, you know, certainly something is better than nothing. But I do really like how easy that is just to slip on, slide on and slide off. That's nice. And it's going to allow me to continue to check the sugar, you know, check the fondant throughout the winter time to make sure that everything's okay. And then put your inner cover back on. Make sure that you pull your lid if you have telescoping outer covers. If you have, telescoping outer covers like I do, make sure it stays up against here so nothing can get in here. And if you have migratory lids, you don't have to worry about that. But just make sure that when you put this on, you pull it back so that that is now closed up. So I think that's it. Like, folks, this colony is 100% ready for winter. That's it. They're confused, aren't they? Where are they?